Hello YouTube, I'm Farmer Finn and welcome to the Farmer Finn YouTube channel. I would like to do an introduction to the channel really quick. So I am here in central Vermont. I'm sure some of you will be able to figure out where I am pretty easily. But over the past 7 years of owning this property, I have slowly 25 acres we have here in central Vermont, forest and hayfield. I've been teaching myself the ways of land management, some agriculture, and what we'll get to today is how I grow pumpkins here in central Vermont. We're going to start by crimping down this rye. I'll bring you over here. Throughout my 6 to 7 years of being here on this property, I've used YouTube a lot and sort of helped me get to where I am now, to teach me how and what to do and how to do it, and various different things about agriculture and land management, land stewardship, all of those various different things. And I found it incredibly rewarding for someone who grew up in the suburbs of New York City to do. And I think it is time, from watching thousands of hours of YouTube videos, that I give back to the community. And so this is what this channel will be about. We'll do everything from farming pumpkins to running saws to just general land stewardship, selective cutting, land maintenance, grading gravel. We have an acre of lavender behind the camera there, which may or may not be shown at any point in time. But today, we're going to crimp some rye and plant some pumpkins. So here we have winter rye. It's a winter rye and hairy vetch mix. This is, I put this in about, it was a while ago. It was, I think, the 3rd week of September here in central Vermont. And it was about yay tall by the time the winter came in. But now it's the 3rd week of June. Today's date is June 15th, I want to say. And this stuff is 5 to 6 feet tall. It's past pollination stage. It's at milk stage right now. So it's at the perfect place to be crimped. You can see milk stage. I'll show you it here for those who are wondering. If you just take your thumb, I don't know if you can see that, but you get little bits of moisture coming out of the rye. That's milk stage. It's at a point where it can be crimped and terminated properly. So, and I'll show you this too. This is exactly how you want to see the hairy vetch working, right? It's climbing the stalks of rye. So while the rye grows, the hairy vetch is fixing nitrogen in the soil for the pumpkins and for the rye to get even bigger. I mean, this crop of rye looks excellent. It's about 1/3 of an acre here. And as far as how I seeded this, I'll check my notes, but I want to say it was about 75 pounds to the acre broadcast rye with about 15 pounds to the acre vetch mixed in. I want to say, because this was 1/3 of an acre, I want to say it was 25 pounds of rye and 5 pounds of vetch, but I'm not entirely sure. Here is a good example of a nice little piece of rye that is still pollinating. It will still terminate at this stage, which is good. But some of it's still pollinated on the mature end, definitely getting towards the end of the milk stage, which is good. All right, as far as the setup for this crimping goes, we have, first of all, the main thing, the Kubota RTV X1140. We've had this thing for about 2 years now. I think we have about 500 miles on it. It's been great. You can swap it between the 2 and 4 seat versions of it, which we do when we have people over. I just keep it in 2-seater mode normally. For the sprayer, for spraying a herbicide, I have this 65-gallon Fimco sprayer, has a hose reel on it. It does not have the boom. It has whatever this is, not the foldy thing. So you can angle these nozzles and do it however you like. And then on the back for crimping, I have a Packermaxx 5-foot roller crimper combo. This is the roller, this bit here. The crimper is down here. This is what terminates the rye along with the lovely herbicide. This is Tigress glufosinate 280 SL. The way I do this is about 8 ounces per 4 gallons or 2 fluid ounces per gallon. So I have 20 gallons in here, which comes out to, I believe, if I do my math correctly, about, what's that, 40 ounces. I took BC Calc. I don't know why I can't do simple math, but 40 ounces of this is going to go in here. I'm going to turn the agitator on, and then we're going to go do some crimping and spraying. I get all my chemicals on Keystone. I think it's Keystone Pest Solutions, I want to say is the website. They're very good. They ship. This was, I think, 80 bucks, which really for a jug of herbicide that's going to last me 3 years is pretty good in my opinion. I'll never spray glyphosate. I don't mess with that. I don't need to poison my soil or myself, but I'm telling myself that this is slightly better. So it's not a proven carcinogen anyways. So let's do 40 ounces of this. Delicious. And here's our 8 ounces. Good enough for government work. It doesn't need to be great, but about 40 ounces going in. I'm just going to leave that there. So I'm going to turn the agitator on here so it can get mixed around. Of course, driving around will help it agitate pretty good too. Always wear your protection. I just like these nice thick rubber gloves. I think I have a mask. I'm going to wear a mask when I do the rest of this, because I don't want to be getting any cancer, but there you go. All right, here we are. This is what it looks like, crimped. Looks actually quite nice. I'm impressed with this. Are we on here? I think we're on. So, you can see the vetch, the rye, it's all nicely laid down. If we come over here, you can actually see where the crimps are. So, see this right there? That's where one of the crimper rollers laid on it. That's where another one went. There's another one down here. So this is definitely getting successfully terminated. And then down beneath is where I'm going to no-till the pumpkins in. To me, honestly, this is a pretty decent amount of weeds. I might just go ahead and spray this entire thing. Here's an interesting thought though. What I'm thinking is, I don't know if I should be spraying before I come through with the crimper or if I should spray afterward, because I think the rye actually might block the herbicide from getting down to the weeds underneath that I'm wanting. That's what I'm trying to kill. So I might throw some herbicide in here. I'm gonna finish this half. We're gonna do a double test, actually. We're gonna test herbicide before or after roller, and we're gonna test no herbicide or full use herbicide. So that will be what I believe I'm going to do. But so far, so good. All right, today is now the next day. It is June 16th now. The rye vetch has been crimped. I sprayed it off. It was about 20 gallons of glufosinate water mix. And we're gonna put in pumpkins. We're gonna do a mix of decorative and carving pumpkins. I'm gonna start with the decorative to begin with. I'll show you the varieties and exactly how much I'm putting in later. But to begin, we have our Kubota Grandel 5460 pulling the 2-row planter. This planter is from RDH Outdoors. It's a vacuum metered planter. I only use 1 row for pumpkins. I don't do 2 rows. And it has fertilizer as well. I put about 80 pounds of 10-10-10 fertilizer in the fertilizer bin over there, and we have the grapple on the front. That won't be needed right now, but the first thing I would like to show is, because this is a vacuum metered planter, it does require electricity. So I have this 1,000-watt inverter hooked up to the battery and sends it back on a wire through the cab to the vacuum control, which is this thing here. I run the planter at about 20 psi. So this is where I can look in the cab and see the PSI, so I run about 20. And here we have our fertilizer. And then I'm just going to use this 1 row here. There are pumpkin seeds in here, just decorative to start with. I'm going to do some depth adjustment here. I have this set for pressure. I don't really know. And then Right now we're at about 1¼ inches in depth. I've never actually planted with rye like this, so this is going to be new and exciting. But I am going to monitor the depth here as we get started. All right, so things are looking good. I lowered the depth down to 1½ inches. It was a little shallow at 1¼ so 1½ will work better. I am slightly concerned because it looks like the rye is actually getting into the furrow, which means I'm not going to have as great of soil to seed soil contact as I would like to have, but that's fine, I think, for now. This is all a test, so we'll see how it does at the end of the year. I think it's going to do well, to be honest with you, but that remains to be seen. For those of you wondering how exactly I run the plates in this thing, I'll show you. This is a 7100 series, I want to say. So any plate in that series will fit. So this is the vacuum meter here. Let's see. Okay, so this is what the plate I run looks like. It has 5 holes open On this side, I've taped and duct taped. It's rather janky, but it does work. The rest of the pockets and the holes, because each one of these things on the side here, those are all air holes. I don't understand why it's designed this way, because seeds will get into those and you're just sort of defeating the purpose. So I blocked them up with tape and RTV, and on the pockets I've just drilled small holes, and so the pumpkin seeds will get attached to that via the vacuum, go around, and get dropped in the ground. That is how I've done it. If you can read that, that is the model number of the plate that I am using. That's what works for me. Of course, do this at your own risk. As far as the varieties I planted go, we have a couple for both decorative and carving bigger pumpkins. For the bigger pumpkins, I planted Big Doris and Kratos, along with a mix of leftover seeds from last year, which included Big Doris and Kratos, and Orange Sunrise. And from Johnny's seeds, I get most of my seeds from Harris, but from Johnny's seeds, I also planted Renegade. And I quite liked all four of those varieties last year. I've previously planted Zeus and some Howdens and some Connecticut Fields, and I didn't like them. But these varieties I planted last year were very circular. They did not disform. They were big, thick, girthy. They were just beautiful pumpkins. And of course, Orange Sunrise and Renegade are on the smaller side. I think Orange Sunrise was probably my least favorite from last year, but the Renegades, for a 10 to 15 pound, like, small carving pumpkin, they were very continuous and very similar, perfectly round. Highly recommend these. And of course, these are all short growing season pumpkins as well, 100 days or less. Most of these, I think, are 90 days or less. The Orange Sunrise is a 90 day. The Renegade is a 95 day. The Big Doris is an 100 day. And the Kratos is an 100 day. I think Big Doris is probably my favorite for the big carving pumpkins. They're just beefy, beautiful pumpkins. So we'll show you those when they actually are ready to harvest. And then as far as the decoratives I planted, we have Moonshine. They're like little white pumpkins. They're in 100 day. Field Trip, they're like the little small 5 to 7 pound, like, little pumpkins you can get. They call them Field Trip because schools take field trips to the pumpkin patch, and that's what the little kids get when they go. And then I planted a pie pumpkin, a pumpkin small sugar. That's what they call it, small sugar pumpkin. It's an 100 day. And then I also planted a mix of leftover seeds from last year, which included those on top of Rogue Viv de Emples. I don't know what that is. It's a red pumpkin. It's like an heirloom. And then the Long Island cheese. Long Island cheese are very nice to eat anyways. I've made a couple pumpkin pies out of them. But they seem to get this like mold developing on their skin after they sit for a little while. And I think I maybe got one Long Island cheese last year. But the year before I had like 50 of them. And they were great. But they were back ordered this year, so I didn't plant them. And Jaredale, they're like a blue pumpkin. 100 days. I was going to use these as a trap crop for the vine borer, but I just sprayed for the vine borer and didn't have any issues. So that's my slate of pumpkins that work for me in interior New England. They're simple, fast maturing, easy to work with pumpkins, and those are my go-tos. All right, I'll be back in about 3 weeks' time to show you
the updates on pumpkins. Bye, y'all.